Nandikeshwara Tirth. There are various places of holy Tirth and pilgrimage. Here we visit the various mandir. Sometimes devotees of a particular mandir would say, we're going on Tirth. And they would get their maxis and their motor cars and so on, and they would leave in Pinal here, wherever the mandir is located, and would visit several mandir, going about the country, visiting all the various mandirs and so on, or as much as possible that you can visit in one day, given the road conditions and traffic conditions and so on. And so Nandikeshwara Tirth, my dear friends, obviously not located here in Trinidad, is one of those very auspicious places to visit. And we're going to find out how in fact this place became so ordained and blessed by Sadashiv Bhagwan, that it yields the greatest of rewards. By simply visiting that place, one can attain moksha and free oneself from the avagaman, the cycle of birth and death, of which you and I are part of, and to attain that ultimate goal of mukti, my dear friends, supreme and eternal bliss in Bhagwan's heavenly abode. In the city of Varanasi, there lived a Brahmin. He had 2 sons and a wonderful Dulahin. And that family was they were all great devotees of Sadashiv Bhagwan. On a daily basis, he would perform Shiv Pujan. Sarva Parivar, he would call the entire family together. And of course, he taught his sons the benefit of devotion to Shankar Bhagwan. As such, that family, my dear friends, lived a very happy and contented life. Through the blessings of Shankar Bhagwan, nothing that they desired went unfulfilled. Yet, there was one thing that this Brahmin desired to do, which he had not done as yet, and that was to visit the holy city of Varanasi. This, my dear friends, is recorded and documented in the Hindu scriptures as being a place that, of course, is especially blessed by Shankar Bhagwan. We are told right here in Shiva Purana, at the time of Pralay, which is dissolution or destruction of this universe, Varanasi is the one place that Shankar Bhagwan would preserve. Whilst the entire universe would be dissolved and destroyed, Shankar Bhagwan would use his Trishul to lift up Varanasi, also known as Kashi. So Varanasi and Kashi are the names of the same place. To lift up this holy city of Varanasi upon his Trishul and save the inhabitants of that holy city of Kashi, my dear friends, from destruction at the time of Pralay or dissolution of this universe. This Brahmin, despite performing many puja and yajna and so on at his own home, he also desired to visit Varanasi. And for some time he had been saying to the Dulahin that, this is my desire, I would want to go and visit Kashi before I would die. But the 2 sons were very young as yet, and so they were not, capable of undertaking this very long journey. Today if you have to go to Kashi, you book your flight, you get into your airplane and you fly across to India and you visit that holy city of Kashi. And even though they lived in India, my dear friends, hundreds of miles separated Varanasi from Varanasi, that holy city. And so he had to walk. And this journey would normally take, my dear friends, several days of walking. There were no motor cars, obviously, thousands of years ago. The Brahmin did not have a horse or a chariot, which was the only means of a faster mode of transportation. And so he had to walk all the way from Varanasi to Varanasi. And so the 2 sons were very young. And although the Dulahin desired to go as well to Kashi, she says, look, I will stay behind with the 2 boys, and you go and fulfill this desire of yours to visit that holy city of Kashi. My dear friends, 2 weeks later, the news reached the Dulahin and the 2 sons that the Brahmin, her husband, had died in Varanasi. Obviously, she was very sad, but also she was happy. And you might wonder and ask the question, why is she happy? Obviously, we know why she's sad, because her husband has just died. She has received news that her husband has died. And in those days, if you died in Kashi, that's it, that's your resting place. And if you know anything about Kashi or Varanasi, my dear friends, you know what? People would leave from all parts of India. When they think that they're coming to their last days, they would leave from all parts of India and go to Kashi and spend their last days, or last years for that matter, in Kashi. For it is believed if you die in that holy city of Kashi, you go straight to Vaikuntha. And so this is why, obviously, she felt sad when she learned of the death of her husband. But also, she was happy to learn that he died in such a holy place. And of course, the funeral rites, Antim Sanskar, Shrad and Bhandara and so on, took place in that holy city of Kashi. So let us understand, therefore, why is this city considered such a holy place, and why is it considered such a good fortune, a good opportunity to have died in that city of Kashi, so much so that herself and her two sons, were thankful and happy that at least the Brahmin had passed away, had died in such a holy place. So there are several reasons, my dear friends, not just one reason, because of course it is blessed and ordained by Lord Shiva, but there are several other reasons, and we shall go into these briefly, as to why Kashi is considered to be so sacred and so blessed that even if you would journey there and bathe in the Ganga as it flows through that city of Kashi, that of course such blessings of course would secure your place in Vaikuntha Lok. And as you know, if you're following the Mahakumbh festival that is taking place, 45 days, my dear friends, of celebration and devotion in Prayagraj, which is just about 120 miles south of Varanasi. And there's a reason why these places are considered to be so holy. At the time of the Samudra Manthan, or the churning of the ocean, Amrit emerged out of the churning of the ocean, and drops of Amrit, my dear friends, fell at Prayagraj, where the Mahakumbh festival is taking place at this time, and also at Varanasi and two other cities, which my memory does not serve me well to tell you the name of those two other cities. I believe also Haridwar and Rishikesh. But these are the holy places, my dear friends, where these drops of Amrit fell at the time of the churning of the ocean. And 450 million people, my dear friends, would go to Prayagraj this year to bathe in the confluence, what is called Triveni. Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati rivers meet at Prayagraj. And it is so called Mahakumbh this year because the first time in 144 years this particular observance is taking place in India. And if you follow astronomy, you would know that there is a planetary parade that has occurred. That is, 7 planets are in alignment. And the next time this would occur is 144 years from now. So Mahakumbh would only come every 144 years. Every year there's Makar Sankranti. Every 12 years there's Kumbh Mela. And every 144 years there is Mahakumbh, which is taking place. And if you could just get a picture in our minds, my dear friends, of what 450 million people, such a large gathering, my dear friends, and people from not just Hindus from India, but Hindus from all over the world have journeyed to India at this time to take part in that Mahakumbh. So Prayagraj is one of the holy cities. Varanasi, which we are discussing in our Katha tonight, is also one of those holy cities. And another reason given in Shiv Mahapuran of the auspiciousness of this place is because of the Chandrakoop well that was created by Chandrama Devata, who had visited Varanasi, and due to his devotion to Lord Shiva had spent several years there, and because there was not a source of water, Lord Shiva created that well, the Chandrakoop well, which you can still visit Varanasi today and visit that Chandrakoop well, where this water, my dear friends, was blessed by Shankar Bhagwan, so that his devotee Chandrama can be sustained, during his several years of tapasya. What is remarkable about this well? I don't know if anybody would actually want to go to India to try this out. But you know, if you look into the well, you normally see your reflection. But if you look into the well and you don't see your reflection, remember what we said about Kashi? This is a place that many people, when they're reaching the last years of their life, would come and spend the remaining years there, or the remaining days or months, and once they die in that holy city, it is believed we go straight to Vaikuntha Lok. So if you look into the well and you do not see your reflection, it is an indication that death is near. Within 2 to 3 months, that individual who fails to see his reflection in the water of Chandrakoop, my dear friends, that person would have a very short lifespan, just about 2 to 3 months after, visiting the Chandrakoop well. It does not mean that people become afraid of visiting the well. Thousands of people go, especially at this time coming close to Shivaratri, because that well has been blessed by Lord Shiva. And of course, 99% of them would see their reflection in the water. But of course, there are many, my dear friends, who are nearing. Nobody knows, of course. Sometimes even the best of doctors cannot tell you when your last days or your last months or your last years would be. But Chandrakoop, well, in Varanasi, my dear friends, is able to predict this, of course, at the failure to see one's reflection. Also, when Shankar Bhagwan had instructed the Sapta Rishis to travel this world, they wanted some avenue by which they could get darshan of their Lord Shiva. And so he says to them, in that same city of Varanasi is the Vishwanath Mandir. The Vishwanath Mandir, my dear friends, is where he has manifested the Vishweshwar Jyotidling. If you go to that Vishwanath Mandir and you perform worship of me and you perform Ganga Arati at that Vishwanath Mandir, then you would receive my darshan. As such, my dear friends, Vishwanath Mandir is one of the most visited mandir in the world, where millions of devotees would go to Varanasi to visit Vishwanath Mandir and of course get darshan of the Vishweshwara Jyotidling. As you know, Lord Shiva has manifested 12 Jyotidling, and of course one of those is located in that holy city of Varanasi. Another reason why Varanasi is so auspicious is because of the Manikarnika Ghat. So the Ghat are the steps that lead down into the river Ganga. And there are 100 such Ghat along the banks of the river Ganga. But Manikarnika Ghat is where Parvati Mata had lost her earring in the waters of Manikarnika. As such, this Ghat, my dear friends, together with Harishchandra Ghat, are two of the most frequently visited places along the banks of the river that flows through Kashi, that sacred river Ganga. As such, this particular Ghat, my dear friends, at least 100 cremations take place there every single day. Now you might find that sounding like a large number. If you do the proportions in terms of population size, remember, India is 1.4 billion. Trinidad is 1.2 or 3 million. But every day you go down by the creek right here, you perhaps have 7 or 8 or 9 or maybe 10 cremation. If you go to Karavani, you have a similar amount. If you go to Waterloo, you have a similar amount. If you go to other places, you would also have cremations taking place there. But we are 1.3 million and they are 1.4 billion. So obviously, you have a population that is thousands of times larger than Trinidad. And maybe if you do the proportion, the percentage, and you work it out per population, you might find that perhaps we're just about the same thing. If 100 cremations are taking place there on a daily basis, and between our cremation sites here, we might have maybe about 25, 30 on a daily basis. So, population-wise, we're not too far behind. But because of the loss of Parvati Mata's earring at that spot, my dear friends, Manikarnika Ghat is looked upon as being very auspicious as well. Also, after Sri Ram's battle had ended with Ravan, he wanted a special lingam from Varanasi to perform worship to Lord Shiva. And he had sent Hanuman Baba to retrieve this Shiva lingam. But Kal Bhairav was guarding this Shiva lingam at Varanasi, and at first he refused Hanuman Baba's request to take the lingam to Sri Ram. And it was only upon the intervention of Shankar Bhagwan himself that Kal Bhairav allowed this Shiva lingam to be moved by Hanumanji and taken down to Rameshwaram, where of course Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra performed the Linga Pujan and made offerings to Shankar Bhagwan. The sixth reason why Varanasi is so sacred, Tulsidas ji composed Ramayana Katha in Varanasi. And that spot where Tulsidas ji sat down and wrote Ramcharitramanas, which we are going to be reading on Saturday night, Tulsi Manas Mandir was built on that same spot, and you can go and visit Tulsi Manas Mandir up to today, my dear friends, where of course Tulsidas Ji Maharaj had written. It is here as well that Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra gave darshan to Tulsidas Ji. You know, whilst he was writing, meditating on Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra, Bhagwan came along, riding he passed in front of Tulsidas Ji together with his brother Lakshman. And he was able to get darshan of Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra and Lakshman Ji. So my dear friends, all of these, there's several reasons why Varanasi is so sacred. And